Hello and welcome to Illuminations with Tiina and Fi. I'm Fi.
And I'm Tiina.
Hello Tiina, welcome. Nice to see you this morning.
Thank you.
So this is our season, our theme that we're looking at, which is around winter blues. And this does come up both in my friends, and it comes up with clients, it comes up, in magazines, the winter blues. So we're going to take two episodes to explore winter blues, obviously have someone talk about winter blues, and then we'll do some nuggets. So Tiina, would you like to get us started exploring winter blues?
Yes, and now I'll start looking at you instead of into the camera. There we go. Winter blues, wow, what a subject. Comes up every year, I think. Lots and lots of articles about it, and we kind of get really immersed in that. Well, some people get immersed in that. So where do I kick it off? I'll probably kick it off with hormones. So I think winter blues, some people will say that they definitely feel it. Other people are like, what are you talking about? I have no idea. But there might be an explanation in hormonal activity, and that's melatonin and serotonin. So melatonin is our sleep hormone, which we really need, which helps us get to sleep and stay asleep. Serotonin is the happy, calm, contented hormone, also the one that wakes us up. So when serotonin goes down, melatonin rises, and vice versa. And sometimes when our serotonin levels go down quite sharply, we are starting to wonder, why am I not feeling that happy and contented feeling anymore? I need something. What do I need? I want something. Why am I not feeling? Because it can happen quite quickly. And therein comes the blue feeling, we call it, winter blues. And of course, winter time, we don't get as much light, because in the summer mornings, when you wake up and you open the curtains, you get that light into your eyes, and that's when the melatonin levels start dropping and the serotonin comes up. We don't have that much of that in Northern Europe during winter. So therein might lie one explanation in hormones. Over to you, Fi. So we looked at a little bit of a bodily activity. What stance will you come in with talking
Well,
about?
I also agree, and what's really interesting around sleep is that bizarrely cortisol is our stress hormone, and we want to actually keep that down. But what they know is that if you have a high level of cortisol on waking, just at that point of waking, that actually you often have a better day. It just lifts. And the way you enhance your cortisol at waking is by getting as much light as possible at midday between 12 and 1. It's actually quite specific like that. So that, goes along with that. So if it's getting out and getting as much sunlight, as much light, it doesn't have to be sunlight, just light as you possibly can. And I think that can also, as you say, help as well. So how would you suggest people then, how can you manage that melatonin serotonin balance? Because Lumi nights and things like that come in. Do they wake you up with natural dawn? Those lights are quite researched now, and I've got friends who find the winter mornings more challenging. They have those lights, and it helps. The dawn slowly rises so that it does that change for you that you're suggesting. Anything else you might?
Well, apparently carbohydrate-rich food carbohydrate-rich food is also rich in serotonin. That's a mouthful there, which might not be ideal for some people, because then you might kind of have other bodily functions come into play. But apparently, so I'm not a healthcare professional. I don't know what the effects of that would be. Obviously, vitamin D is something that we get from sunlight. That might also kind of go down. But I have to say, personally, for me, I sleep better during the winter months.
Right.
And here in Sweden, of course, it gets really dark. And I love that, because summer gets really light here, and this light just seeps in somehow, and that wakes me up. So my routine in the winter months, might be that I light a few candles, and there's little lights in the house that we kind of light. So it's not the full-on light at the in the ceiling. There's little lights. A little light in the windows and everywhere, and that's kind of like a nice transition then into the day. So you can kind of play around with that, what works for you. But definitely,
that makes sense, because I remember obviously coming over to you and about January, and I said, oh, people have left their Christmas lights up, and you were like, well, no, because it actually helps bring light. And of course that's where I'm interested in very much how the countries where there is less light, how you embrace it. And you often talk about, and I've read about it, how the Swedish population, let's not be too generalistic, but they can be so different in the winter and in the summer.
Yes,
they're like two different breeds. And it's as if what you do is you embrace that lack of or that extension, let's put it the right way around, the extension of dark. And they're right out on doorsteps, there are these little lights all day, and in windows, and so it's an embracement of that.
Well, I don't know if it's an embracement of that or a have to, which has then become an embracement. And I think also we have to remember how hundreds or thousands of years ago, we had to live with the seasons.
Yes.
And in Northern Europe, it would have been darker then as well, and cold, and you wouldn't have done, that was the time to kind of maybe reflect more, to kind of hibernate a little bit more.
Yes.
The summer months and spring months were the months where you really worked hard, because then you had the light to work.
Yes.
And there's a little bit of a reminder for us that maybe this is the time to kind of slow down a bit.
Yes.
But of course, the way we've built our society now is not with the seasons. We kind of, it's quick all the time. But there might be, the time that you have for yourself, maybe it's a little bit more quieter time. And I know in Sweden, what happens in summertime, people are out, things are happening. Winter months, it quiets down. People are at home a lot more.
And it's interesting, because I quickly Googled, because I was talking to you about, I don't know how you say it, you might help me. Oh, it tells me here. Hygge, the Danish Hygge, it's called, which is spelled Hygge.
Yeah, in Sweden we would say Hygge. I don't know how the Danish say, but in Sweden.
Well, they say pronounce. Yeah, you're probably saying it better than me anyway, so I'll just ignore that one.
I know.
And so so it says here, the Danish ritual of enjoying life's simple pleasures, and that is starting now to come into the UK. So blankets are everywhere, and throws, and big fluffy slippers, and hot chocolate, and fires, people burners, and it's as if we're having to learn from, this is where culture mix is beautiful, it's where we're learning from how Northern Europeans cope and manage and live with this, and embracing that into our culture. Because I think you're right, we'll probably explore this more in our next episode, but there's the resistance to the season change. And I've been very influenced by the Taoist, perspective around this. And kind of where I am at the moment, in busy, we do accept that there is a time of more slow, more quiet, allowing ourselves to recuperate as we would done in the past, rather than pushing and pushing and pushing. And coming into that zone of, okay, let's just gather, but gather differently. And therefore the weather doesn't become then the focus of whether we have enjoyment or not.
Definitely.
We make our enjoyment so that despite the weather. That's beautiful. Right, I think we're going to, that's it.
We're out of time.
Brilliant, we're
a
done.
lovely place to kind of end it, I think.
Aye, wrapped in a cozy blanket with me big furry slippers and tea lights everywhere, me rock salt lamp burning, and a lovely cup of hot chocolate.
Oh, yum.
Aye, there you go. Thank you, Tiina.
Thank you, Fi.
So if you've enjoyed this, then please do share it. I'm sure you have many friends and family who talk about the winter blues. Tiina and I are bringing along different perspectives around the winter blues that may actually support and guide someone to manage and be with the winter blues, or change the winter blues into something else. Next episode we'll explore that further. So please subscribe, and you'll get, obviously every Friday you'll be aware that there's a new episode of exciting, tantalizing content for you. Okay. Thank you, Tiina.
Thank you, Fi. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.